Good to see you, awesome learners! Welcome to HESED Education here in the Philippines. For today, I will be your instructor. I am your teacher, Hani. And for today, we will discuss about the amazing story of architecture. What is architecture? Architecture is very relevant to our lives. It is originated when people start to create spaces to build their shelter from the dangerous thing that can happen from the environment. These days, architecture has been evolved, or let's say became innovative for the different types of shapes, spaces which people build for its own purposes. Most people live in a building or in a house for their whole life, so it is impossible to imagine without us having a building or a house. They are essential just like our foods and our clothes. Architecture is the work of designing and constructing a structure such as house, bridge, or let's say a building. It is always around us and it is one of the signs of our civilization. People who made designing or let's say constructing a building is a house is what we call the architect. In creating or let's say building a bridge, house, or a building has different kind of structure. It depends on their purpose. That's why the most important factor of building a structure is to build a strong frame that can withstand a gravity, namely comprehensive force and of course the tensile force. In order to defy the gravity of forces into a building, house, or let's say bridge, it needs to have a structure like human skeleton. So every building is constructed with materials that can withstand comprehensive forces and tensile forces. Now, what is the difference of these two? When we say compressive, it is the forces that pushes a material squashing it. When we say tensile forces, it is a force that pulls at a material stretching it. Again, buildings need to balance these forces so they do not collapse or fall. Did you know, kids, that humans aren't the only animals that can change cleverly the environment by building? Natures have beavers. Beavers are one of the nature's most famous architects. They chop down trees, build dams, and make lakes to keep their home safe. Also, this house keeps the beaver much safer from predators like wolves and bears. Scary, right? Some animals create a stunning kind of structure that even human beings are amazed by how these have natural instincts. Now, they build incredible homes like these cathedral termites. These cathedral termites in Australia is a kind of mud that has cooling and heating vents at the top that automatically keep it at a moderate temperature. It is amazing how these tiny termites can build this huge structure with soil, sand, saliva, and dung. How amazing! For a long time, architects has been looking for an inspiration to a building. So most of the architects are inspired by nature, like the world-famous buildings like Sagrada Familia Church. Sagrada Familia Church was designed by a famous architect, Anthony Gaudi. It was inspired by nature and designed to look like a forest of cypress trees. This building started in 1882 and it is expected to finish by 150 years. In Africa, we have the Eastgate shopping centers. It doesn't have any AC or let's say air conditioning type of machine, yet it stays cool all over around or let's say all over the year. It has hole on its roof and of course on the floor, allowing air to flow smoothly. Therefore, it uses less electricity than the other buildings. Now we will tackle about the architectures of various shapes. If you take a look around on any place, you may see a lot of different kinds of structure because they built and develop in various kind of shapes, space, or the way to suit different purposes and times. Of course, let's see or let's take a look about the past and the presence of the structures or the buildings that we have in our world and think about its future. Buildings like palaces, temples have different kind of Korean beauty, such as Bulguksa Temple and Sukoguram are monumental artifacts with a unique architectural kind of style. Most temples and palaces have kiwa, five-color dungeon, quisitum roof, and behelium kind of pillar. Sukoguram Grotto is a masterpiece of religious architecture. It is one of the Korea's national treasures and UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Built in Silla Dynasty more than a millennium ago. Wow, it's built in a long time ago. Even modern scientists are amazed by how it was scientifically designed to stay cool and dry with natural ventilation and humidity control inside the temples and palace. Let's talk about more of Sukoguram Grotto. When you see the object or the subject from above, you will see that it looks more shorter. This scientific principles was used to make the guangbei looks like a circle rather than its actual oval shape. Now, here's the picture. As you can see, this is the main room and this is where the Buddha plays, and of course, this is the entrance room of Sukoguram Grotto. Of course, there are a lot of architecture, or let's say there are more innovative structure in the world in terms of architecture. Architects think of a unique styles or let's say ideas to offer people pleasure and happiness when they see a structure through their design. Of course, such buildings create in the region or let's say artistic values and cultures like this building and even more landmarks in the region. Like this, a book-shaped library in a Kansas Public Library, Learning Tower of Pisa of Abu Dhabi, and we also have the unique House of Poland. Kids, do you imagine our future? What does it look like? In the future, perhaps we will live in the kind of cities that these days only exist in our imaginations. Future buildings will change accordingly to improvement of science and technology. It will adapt sooner or later. But we also need to consider issues such as Earth's energy extraction and the environment. Of course, we have to take care of our environment. In our modern world, we have the Bullitt Center of Seattle, USA. It is one of the example of what future buildings would be, or let's say what the building future looks like, and it is famous for being one of the most greeniest commercial building that exists in our generation. Everything here is biobinding. When we say biobinding, it is allowing or let's say it's allowing human waste to use as a plant compost. All the energy is used is geothermal or solar and collects and stores rainwater on its rooftop. And of course, it is expected that this building will last over 250 years. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening and have a great day, kids. Bye-bye!